before registration, before register the user, I will check if the user is already present or not. So for that I use, and also I will send as a API response. Then user repository dot find by email, and I get email from where? From request, but it giving some error because it's type a optional. So I change this OPT, and then I check if in optional if it is present, then simply and I again copy this and user already present with email ID. I give message to the end user. Status is false and JWT is null. Response entity, I give this response and exception found. And if user is not found, then I simply authentication response. I take authentication response. AUTHMDICA. Where is authentication? Wait a minute. I make a response or not? This type. Yes, this one. Authentication response and variable. I take token because I get only token from this method. I call authentication service, AUTHENTI authentication service, then register method, and pass the request as an argument. And after that I get token, so I have passed, and from that because it get as a as a list, so from that I filter the token and then pass. Okay, register. Now it's time to write logic for register in authentication service. Here I use password encoder. Provide private password encoder for encrypting the password. Also use service. Provide private JWT service. For now I think this is the enough, and then pass all into constructor. Okay, first I receive the request, then make object of user, and then set all the value which I get from front user. First name, then set user dot last name, request dot get last name, then user set email, request dot get email, then user dot usr dot set password. And for password I will use password encoder, because before saving I will encode the password, encrypt the password, so no one know what is the exact password he used. So I encrypted, and after all that simply save. No, one thing or set the role also. Role I use role as a as a user, and call from where enum, and then save. Call the user repository dot save method and pass all the object. After saving, first generate token. You can here you can use where or as a string. Where is if you don't want to define integer, string or anything, and just want a single variable data type, then you can simply as a where, like in JavaScript. So I use where and name where token, JWT token, and how I generate it from JWT service. Generate token, and here I simply pass only user, because I have two methods related to JWT. Last, simply make object of authentication response, and pass the JWT token. Now this I think here is finished. Now generate token, I have a method, make all the method, application configuration, and here one thing is that this not null is come from here, but don't need this package authentication filter. This one is come from Lang Spring Framework from here. org Spring Network Spring Framework dot lang not null. Yes, I think I will test. Now I can test. Okay, open JWT. My XAMPP server is running. First I check my connection. I use Spring JWT. Yes, JWT, and till now there is a no user. If I register the user API v1 auth register from authentication controller, you can check API v1 auth and register mapping. This is post mapping. Post mapping. Okay, now run. There is no error now. Giving me 4034 written. Why? I forgot to pass here in argument. If I simply make auto wired, then and if now I check, then yes, you can check here user registration successfully and I got the JWT token. And if I check in DV, then here I get the detail. And if again register with the same email ID, then I will get this message: user already present with this email. Now second one is for login. I make another method in controller, and next one is at the rate post mapping login public response entity, and I pass here as a API response because I will get message after login: is user is logged in or not. And here I get as a body from front end authentication AUTHE and authentication AUTHE and I make spelling mistake. Authentication No. And don't make request. So AUTHENTICATION authentication request, and here I give variable name as a request. Okay, that why my mouse is giving a problem. And here I return as API response. So till now I simply pass null and user login successfully. Now make this request. This request is type of class, and where I put this in a request package. Okay, this have private string because it receive only email and password from user, and password I pass public, so I make default, then make constructor, generate getter setter, save. Now this is finished. Come on controller, after API response, check authentication response token. From login I want to generate token also, then authentication service authentication service. From authentication service I make in authentication service I make a method for login or authenticate. What you want, anything. I make a method name of authenticate and pass request as a parameter. Now make this method is authentication service. In authentication service, this is public method. Okay, and first I want authentication manager, but before that here I use auto wired private authentication manager, authentication manager, and this authentication manager is come from Spring Security Authenticator authentication managers. Now I can use here authentication manager that authenticate and simply here pass argument. For first argument is username password authenticate token. Okay, and this receive token as request dot get email. Authenticate from where? Authenticate from email and password. After that, find user repository that find by email from request get email. If find, then simply return, otherwise if don't return, then simply throw error. And now again token, so simply I will copy from register, generate token from user and return. I think this work now. Okay, there is no error. I will copy this one. If again I register, then give me this message for login. My URL is API v1 auth authenticate, and here I can save also. Token pass here, then get token. Okay, for registration I think true. Now if I check is that running, this also give me a forbidden. Request body API response, new response. Authenticate, because I use different here login, so login I, because it receive a different URL, so it give me 403. Here you can check now 202 is accepted, and before that first I will here one thing validate, and which one is if email is not present, if the user type for login and the email is not present in DB, then in that case I want to give some message to end user. Find by email request, same thing which I done in registration method, and after that simply a copy from here. Sorry, here now, and and here not present, here I check as empty or not. If empty, then I pass message that email id is not valid, please enter valid email. Response is false and token no. And if again I will check some different email, then give me this one, and to if I pass right email, then give me token.